Hello Year 5, it is finally Friday. It is our final home learning video this week. What I would like you to do is get all of the pieces of learning that you have done to do with our topic learning this week, and I would like you to have them in front of you because we're going to be putting all of them together today, all of our skills that we've learned this week, to create a diary entry of a slave. So making sure that we're thinking about our emotions, that we're thinking about the research that we've done, because that would be really important. Making sure that we're thinking about that emotive language, and also it's really important that we have those checklists of features. Now remember, you don't need to include every single feature in the learning that you do, but it would be good to have a fair few in there, just naturally, so that we were getting used to writing them. So what we have been working up to all this week is creating a diary entry for the person that has been captured. So a slave that has been captured. It could be your own imagined slave, or it could be a slave from the story. Now it's quite easy to use your imagination with that one because I haven't given too much detail on the character. The only thing that we do know is that she is female, and we have inferred that because the character has been called Emma. Now, I would like you to take one of the four parts of the story. So, the part where they're being captured, the part where they're on the slave ship, the part where they're being sold, or the part when they're working on the plantation, so on the farm for the people that own them. Now, what I've decided to do is I've decided to take that second stage. I've decided to take the stage where they're on the middle passage in the boat. And I actually drew myself a picture of what I think that would look like. I thought, right, I think they'll be chained up, they'll be lying down. I know that they're all crammed like sardines in the boat. And I thought, how would I feel? And I really thought about that emotive language that we've been doing lots of work on. So, this is how mine goes. Dear Diary, how could I have been so foolish? Ma had told me relentlessly not to stray too far from the mud hut in our secure town, but, as usual, I stupidly didn't listen. And now I'm here, shivering helplessly in the bleak unknown while the chains clutch menacingly at my neck and ankles. I've never missed my family so much. The smells around me prod at my hollow stomach, which relentlessly growls and begs for food, and I don't know if I can go on any longer without food. The weak cries and moans from the other men, women, and children around me have now stopped, thankfully, and we all listen to the sounds of the crashing waves against the boat. I'm sure we are all thinking the same thing. Where are we going? When will we go up on deck again for the fresh air we all crave to gulp into our lungs? Niengo Bourgeois. What I would like you to do now is I would like you to think about that list that you made yesterday based on the Year 5 features that we would expect to be seeing in much of your writing. And I would like you to think about the work on emotive language that we've been doing and the work on emotions that we've been doing earlier on this week. And I would like you to give me a score out of 10. How good do you think this is? How good do you think my vocabulary is? Have I used all of the things on that checklist, or is there anything that I've missed out? Or is there anything that I've maybe done wrong, or anything that you would improve? I'm going to give you a little while to have a think about my work in relation to what we have done this week. How good do you think it is? For having a fairly thorough look through my learning and pointing out the things that you like in relation to the learning that we've done this week and the things that you might improve. What I would like us to think about is the emotive language that I've used. There are a fair few things that I could have improved 100%, but I have included words like relentlessly. Remember, looking at emotive language, we're looking at our adjectives, our adverbs, and we're thinking about our verbs here too to create the most powerful word choices that we can. So if somebody is being relentless about something, they are not stopping. But if you are looking really carefully, you might notice that I've used that word twice, relentlessly here and also relentlessly here. It is really important to think about your synonyms, which are the words that mean the same thing, in order to make sure that your writing is not repetitive and your reader is getting new words all the time to keep them engaged. You don't want them to stop and think, oh, they've used that word a minute ago. Do they not know another word for it? So make sure that you're not repeating yourself like I have done. Similarly, I did that with the word food here. So food and food. Now, I actually did not realise that I made that mistake until I read it out loud. So for lots of you, I know that it really does help reading your writing out loud once you're finished, because that will highlight repetition, a bit like for me. It's absolutely fine to make mistakes as long as you go back and you know to change them. So looking at the checklist, I believe I've used a fair amount from that checklist. Remember, you don't have to use every single thing every single time, but I would expect the majority of you to be using most of these things just once or twice, not all the way through. You've worked really well so far, Year 5. Make sure that you're using everything that you've learned this lesson. So get out all of your pieces of paper if you've stored them and bring them all together and think, right, how am I going to make this really good diary? Am I going to include some facts that I've learned from when we were retrieving information? Am I going to include different synonyms from when we were story mapping and then working out what emotions were going on? Think about your adjectives, adverbs, and changing those verbs just like we did on Wednesday. And yesterday, we have got a very secure checklist that you can be using. I would like you please to write your diary entry about one of the 4 stages. So when the person was running away from their captors, or maybe when they were in the ship, chained, a bit like I've written, or maybe when they were being sold, or when they were at the plantation. Brilliant learning this week, Year 5. I am really impressed with the learning that you have given me, and I'm very excited to see how your diary entries look and whether you've been able to combine all of these things that we have been doing from this week. If there's anything to do with slavery that you would like to learn about, make sure that you pop it on the Year 5 email along with the learning that you've done today, because that will give me an idea of what I can do for next week. Alternatively, if there's anything else to do with crime and punishment that you want myself or Mrs. Smith to look at, can you let us know that as well? So hopefully we can cover as many of these things as possible. Have a wonderful weekend, Year 5. You've earned it. Talk to you later.